We're back to Social Ledger Report. So we've been away for a moment. Welcome back, Leon. It's good to have you back. How's everything been for you, by the way?
It's been a busy summer. I was in
Yep.
SF in San Diego and Arizona and Michigan, so I'm glad to be back at the home office. And I don't have an office anymore, just a home office. So
Yeah.
it's been a
Should
summer.
we talk about like what's been happening in San Antonio's startup scene? I know it's a whole can of worms, but just a brief, small life update, maybe.
Yeah, totally. So for everybody who doesn't know and has any context, there's a cool incubator, cool co-working space in San Antonio called Geekdom. It's been around about 15, better part of about 15 years.
Wow, it's
And
a lot.
it is going to be closing the co-working spaces as of September 22nd, 25th, something like that. And then they're going to go down to one floor, which is essentially like a cafe style place, a lot like Corgi. So I went and wrote a pretty in-depth, post about what is happening in San Antonio. It's quite a meaty post. Lorenzo,
Dude.
he's a pretty cool dude. Got to talk to him a lot and become a little bit of friends with him. So got to talk about it and write about what I think about San Antonio, what I think it can change, and essentially what happens outside of these metro areas that are Austin, SF, New York, or places like that. Because there's these second tier cities that are always struggling.
Yep.
And this was the original post. Let's see,
This is the
original
start of the
post.
Chronicles.
Yeah, made a post. It went a little viral in terms of just like people were talking about it and stuff. And then um, the blog post is what really took it off and kind of had a lot more conversation going from a lot of people in San Antonio, a lot of people from Austin, in aggregate. So it started a really good conversation of like what is San Antonio is a startup hub. I don't think it is. I think it's an expansion city, and then really what Texas is. I think Austin has a unique recipe for tech, but wh- what is that recipe and how do you replicate it is an astonishingly hard thing to do.
I think because this is a crypto podcast, like San Antonio, there's probably when I was there, three other founders who were building on crypto, but most of them were in Austin. So to your point, I feel like in Austin, it's in a unique position where it's more tech. You know, San Antonio is more CPG, nothing related to crypto, nothing related to fintech. Maybe like, well, actually, there was maybe like two companies who were building in fintech, but nothing to like the degree that you'd find in Austin or even SF, to put it lightly.
I think I'm asking Grok right now. I'm kind of curious, like, what is crypto adoption in San Antonio and Mexico?
Yeah,
Because
Mexico is big.
there is a really big remittance network, and I think again, it's like
Hmm.
from what is actually a startup to what is like user adoption is kind of interesting. 90,000 crypto investors in San Antonio, high number of crypto
Oh well,
ATMs. Wow, that's a lot. Um,
yeah.
but to where I was going with this is, it's a city of roughly 8 million people. It's, I think it's the
Mexico
eighth
City.
largest. No, San Antonio.
Oh shit, there's 8 million people in San Antonio. That's like
One half
about
of, oh my
DFW
God, yes.
Metroplex.
I can't, I can't do it. How large is San Antonio?
I would be surprised if it's like 1.5 mil, because I think it's not as big.
It,
For
it's a
comparison,
metro area though. It's 8 million people.
yeah.
I believe the main is probably 3 million people.
You mean like San Antonio, Austin, Metro?
So 1.5 is there. It's the seventh largest in the
Okay, yeah.
United States, but there's about 8 million people. Yeah, San Antonio, Austin, the metroplex area that
There we go.
populate this whole area. It's just like DFW. When you look at them aggregated, it's a massive area.
It's kind of crazy. Um, It makes sense. Like DFW is 10 mil people like across the entire metroplex. So Beto, when he talks about like the state of affairs with San Antonio and Austin, it's a growing metroplex, and I've been able to get educated on that. Like it's approaching the level of Chicago, like that whole metroplex, and I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes even bigger in the next few years, or
It's
even
the
decade.
triangle. So DFW, and I'm off on. We're both off on these stats. DFW is about
Okay.
8.5 million.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm just getting
8.5
real
million.
numbers because I've been
No, yeah, you
off
should.
a little bit on this.
No, you're fine.
We always inflate numbers like we're Delve.
There we go. Man, those guys are crazy. Um,
It's about 6 million people combined.
6
So
million
we're off
people.
by 2 million on both sides.
There we go.
But
Well,
very big metro areas in the end.
I think this is all relevant to crypto still because more and more adoption is growing, especially in areas where there's a larger density of population. I believe the rough estimate of Americans who hold crypto right now is 55%, according to Coinbase's I want to say last year's report. So about if you reflect that across the slate, that's like what 4 point something mil people who own crypto across the DFW area or the triangle.
Yeah, let's see. Roughly 50 to 70 million Americans hold crypto.
Okay, so I'm way off again.
67 million, 1 in 4 adults, current holders. Pew. What about Coinbase? What does Coinbase say about this? Grok
Like
has
50
gotten pretty good at all of
Yeah.
this.
What model is it? 4.5?
I don't
Okay,
know
I'm
what
seeing
it's running
4.5.
right now. It's just running auto.
Yeah, but like the only models that are available is 4.5. So auto is
Okay.
like either fast or expert.
Only about 20% of adults in Coinbase's
Jeez.
public figures.
I am so way off my metrics today.
1 in 5, about 52 million. A little bit of Sunday scaries getting us the wrong numbers. So,
Yeah.
if you want to go high, 1 in 4 is about 67 million. Coinbase, which is probably more conservative, is 1 in 5, which is about 50 to 52 million.
No, I believe you.
I don't know where
So
we were going with this, but
No, I
we
mean, I
ended
think
up
it's-
with it.
I think it's relevant to talk about the state of affairs or the status quo, and we're now changing where we're building. Like we're no longer going to be in San Antonio as much, if at all. Where we would go next, probably Austin if we're staying in Texas. Otherwise, I'd be eyeing more at SF and well, I'll be adding more New York and Miami. Probably Miami because that's the crypto hub if you're a builder, but New York is just a fintech hub in regardless, which is where crypto's headed anyways.
I love Miami.
but-
Beautiful women, beautiful weather, but the hurricanes scare me. Like,
Dude, yeah,
the thought of having to evacuate, possibly once a year, if not more, is just like it's not scared, but more just like, oh, what a pain in the butt. Like, New York gets some stuff, but you hunker down. When you're inland in Texas, you just hunker down and you let it be. But that's my one qualm with that. SF is great. I love it. I don't really love the vibe there. I think it's a totally different thing. New York is definitely the place that I'm more attracted to in the end.
I'm also gonna do a video. Well, I'm gonna do a video talking about San Antonio. I think what is missing is, and I think this is what's missing several places, like its own Corgi Cafe, 24-hour place that's open, and you can just go in there, vibe code, meet other people of similar interests. Like I made 2 connections when I was in SF at Corgi Cafe. Just one more thing I wanted to mention about that. Like I think any place that is trying to be a startup hub should have to some capacity a spot where it's open 24 hours, good internet, you can get coffee, you can go in and out whenever you please, and you're gonna meet other people who are in a similar boat like you. Like that would be fucking
There's
fun.
one in New York now.
Yeah, there is.
Corgi Cafe.
Also in London, they're opening soon, which is kind of cool. Um,
Yes, I believe there. I saw on Reddit a little bit of a rumor of an Austin one too.
Austin one. Dude, that would be fun. The fuck? Like, we need that. I'd be down. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it was fun talking about that. I want to pivot real quick to some interesting stories that I found this week, Leon. So while you've been away for a moment, I feel like there's not a lot been. I mean, I've been away for a moment too, but like, there's been a lot of things unfolding with crypto, or not much with crypto for the last few weeks, and then suddenly we have like some pretty big things happening this week with crypto. So for starters, I wanted to talk about like some ETF flows from BlackRock. Like we have like hundreds of millions just inflowing in the ETF, which means these large institutions are buying, which Bitcoin has been sitting at 65,000. So what the fuck does that mean? It means, you know, institutions are still buying Bitcoin. That's kind of a big deal, I think. And the next story is, well, we have some technical ones. So this is like a Bitcoin mainnet soft fork. It was BIP 110 and it collapsed. Like it wasn't doing very well. Or I guess people just in a consensus way like rejected that fork, which I think it's a good use case for the technology behind crypto, right? Like it's like behind Bitcoin, which is I'm very bullish on. And then speaking of like San Antonio's startup ecosystem like evolving, there's been a lot of projects on crypto that have been like breaking lately. Like they've just been collapsing, kind of like a .com aftermath, if that sounds familiar. And then ColdCard exploit, which is a hard wallet. It's probably one of the biggest, most recent stories in crypto because there's this large memo going that, not your keys, not your crypto, not your coins. Like this kind of questions that if companies are selling hardware wallets and they're actually vulnerable, like where are people going to put their money? So those are some pretty big deal things.
Okay,
I
let's jump in.
can,
Let's do it. Let's start with the Bitcoin inflows, outflows.
yeah. So let me share. So I pulled some relevant stories from Twitter this time, talking a little bit more about like the more technical inflows and outflows of the ETF. So for BlackRock's IBIT, IBIT and ETHA absorbed 83% of the 1.7 billion that flowed in the US crypto ETF just last week. And Bitcoin's 2.2% into a tight 65,000 resistance. This is all technical nuance for Bitcoin is sitting steady. It did pump a little bit, but there's a lot of money going in, and BlackRock's IBIT and its other ETF absorb most of the inflows. So that means BlackRock is buying a lot. So
Yeah, but it also just and I think this is nobody's looking like I don't know. Have you looked at it? Like there's still a net outflow for the year.
I have not looked at it, but there's this full brief here by Inflow Scan. We can look at
Yeah,
it.
so it's a losing streak with 1 week. Like Pop doesn't essentially deal with the $4.4 billion in net outflows. Like this is just one good week.
Yeah, this was a really good week, it seems. So
But
the
the one good week doesn't like fix
constitute everything.
the millions and millions that are still going out. It's still
True.
extremely low trading volume. It's the second lowest full week since 2024. Inflows are still low volume, consider.
Hmm.
And then others are like, just because there's the inflow, there's still a large selling demand on the ETFs because the order books are showing like very, very like low volume, and then they're showing a lot of sales still. I think it's just possible custody rotation rather than pure new capital.
Okay, so they're just rotating like wherever they're holding their tokens, like
Well,
they're
you gotta. This ties into the other one, and this is why I thought you put it in there. Is
I did.
the
You mean
part
this one?
That's well, no. So I thought you put this one in there because I thought this was possibly custody rotation, and it's about the cold card hardware wallet problem. So that exploit, a portion of those
It's relevant,
influence
yeah.
may represent existing Bitcoin holders moving into regulated ETFs and selling their Bitcoin on that side, and just kind of like moving around where their Bitcoin lies. Because if you're scared of the hacks and everything, you're probably just going to flow into something that's an institution and deal with it. And then there's also
Yep.
you've got the macro and the market structures are still out there. So payroll data's down. They say there's more jobs and stuff, but there's a higher market rate on mortgages right now, and then there's still capital preference for AI capital. So I would say the appetite for risk is pretty muted, and Bitcoin's still
That's a good
down.
point.
45%. I'm looking at the chart. The price about 45% from the peak of 126 in October. So
Shit.
I
Yeah.
still say this is like a market drawdown and consolidation phase.
Yeah, I mean, the market dropped kind of hard 1 year ago, or about a year now. No, I mean, you have a good point there. No, yeah, I mean, I did find a connection there. That's why I did include it. But it's just that, is it really that's all that it is? Like people just moving, like wherever they're putting their money on? Because obviously, this exploit with the cold card is a pretty big deal. I've never used cold card prior to this, but I've heard of people like using it as an option next to Trezor or like uh, Ledger. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, these large institutions are not going to have like all their money spread out into all these cold wallets. It's all going to be in one place, probably in Coinbase Business or something. It's very regulated. Like you have people actively, protecting your money and, helping you out in case anything happens, like with their 24/7 customer support. So I think you can't beat that. So that is a really good connection now that you pointed out. Like just wherever the money is moving in general. Like I really like the way you put it. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that was a kind of a big deal. That's why I wanted to mention it. Otherwise, well, we were talking about cold wallet security. Let's talk about.
Real quick, hold on. Also,
Yeah.
part of that Bitcoin resistance, the Clarity Act. I want to pull up call sheet real quick.
Oh yeah, because
Call sheet. But the Clarity Act, there is.
it's stalling.
Let's see. There should be a vote on it before October 1st, 2026. I really think this is a no.
You really think so?
I don't think Congress is going to act on this before October 1st. I could see January 1st being there, but I think, I think this is a no.
Is it because election season, or what's making you?
Yes, like well, no, is this midterms?
It's midterms. It's like November as well.
Okay, yeah. So I don't think they'll do it before midterms. I couldn't. I'm thinking that it's next year, but I don't know why. Like,
No, you're good.
I just think. Let's see what the volume is. Hold on. What's this volume? So that's about $1 million.
It's like in the millions.
6 million. So this one's a better representation of it.
If it becomes a law at all
Yeah.
within
See, like
those time frames.
before, like the Clarity Act is there, and I think a lot of these inflows and all of the price of Bitcoin and everything is hedging on the bet that, or hedging that this becomes law at some point. But I think the fact
Okay.
that Bitcoin stayed at that 65K with, still net negative inflows outflows is because this Clarity Act's just not moving.
Yeah, no, it's stalling. Like, a lot of Democrat senators are the ones who are stalling it right now. So, I wouldn't be also like bank lobbyists are also doing everything they can to stall it out. So it makes sense. Like, that's a really good point. I didn't even thought about covering it because I haven't seen a lot of movement. But I mean, I think it's good that you brought it up. Also, that volume shown demonstrated with Kalshi, it's actually kind of a big deal because the more volume, it means more people are like actively monitoring the situation with at least the bills movement. So
Yeah, and you have
no,
some
I'm glad you mentioned
market
it.
makers in there too. So you know
Yep,
that at that volume, you should have a market maker or two that
that's a good point.
that's pushing it in some direction. So I see it. If it's below a million, generally, I don't think there's a market maker to like do it. There's a few of them, like the reality show stuff, that I trust just because you know, 500K in volume on a reality TV show makes sense to me. But 6 million on Clarity becoming law, that's enough volume for me to trust it to some degree.
Absolutely. So, I mean, good analysis. I appreciate you putting it like that. Why don't we talk about like security with like the wallets now? Like ColdCard, it was kind of a big deal actually. I didn't realize how big of a deal it was until I looked more into it. But basically, you probably heard this word float around San Antonio. The best way I can describe why this security breach happened was because of the entropy of the cold wallet's seed phrase generation, which basically means entropy, how random and how hard it is to guess the math behind the generation of the seed phrase. In this case, but basically, in if you're talking about like crypto encryption in general, you want to use like 128-bit complexity, like 128-bit entropy complexity when you're generating these things because it's harder to guess. But this bug dropped it down to 40 bits in some of those cold card models, which it's really, from what I understand, easier to brute force through. Like you create some sort of algorithm, you can brute force it like in not a long time from now. So essentially what happened is the firmware of the cold card is like has a 5 year old bug that nobody addressed, I guess, not even with bytecoding. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if the hackers used like Fable 5 in hindsight to, break this. But attackers were essentially able to brute force into the seed phrase offline and withdrew like over 100 to 130 million dollars in Bitcoin from people's wallets. Yeah, so now people are questioning, hey, is not your keys, not your coins still something that people should trust? Do I keep my money on cold wallets on certain models that are more trusted, that pass like security audits, or should I put in an institution like Coinbase or Binance, you name it, where, at least Coinbase now is becoming more of a option now because if you're a subscriber to their Coinbase One subscription, they can like sort of quasi insure your Bitcoin or your crypto that's in their platform up to a certain cap based on how much you're paying. So I think these are the questions that are being addressed right now, or like that people are raising. Like, should I put my money in an exchange that, you know, has this form of quote unquote insurance, or should I just change to another cold wallet? Me personally, I would probably still keep it on like more trusted cold wallets just because I wouldn't trust an exchange ever to put a lot of money into. Now, granted, I don't have like millions in Bitcoin, but like, well, what do you think? I know this is more of a technical
Yeah,
subject.
like so they were open source. They did say that there was AI like tools that essentially did this, and it's been open
It's
source for
crazy.
5 years. So the fact that this took 5 years out there, but
Wow.
yeah, I think the big thing is you got to look for audits. You got to look for the ones that are trusted. Those I just asked Grok, the Tracer, Safe 5, the Bitbox one, Foundation Passport Core, Blockstream, Jade Plus, Seed Signer. Those are all really good wallets out there that are physical, but they take a lot of effort to get stuff on there. You got to do multi-sig verification, track records, careful seed generation, dice rolls. Like, there's a lot to this to deal with this, and I still think this is a massive barrier to the common thing. Like, I think that's why a lot of this, just like our U.S. dollar, is going to be put institutionally into Coinbase, and a lot of people are going to have that stuff on there, and then some set of people won't trust the government and put them in their own wallets. I keep a majority of my crypto in large scale like Coinbase vaults. Like it makes sense. It's insured. It's there. I get that an exchange could fail, but honestly, Coinbase is a one that it's too big to fail. The U.S. government would probably step in and help in some capacity, and also if they get hacked, that ruins a large institution with millions of dollars. Their outcome is to protect users' money. So I think in the end, it's probably safest. I keep some of it in an air-gapped, open source, Bitcoin only, multi-sig, cold wallet. But that stuff's really hard to deal with, and most people won't. Also, a USB key at some point deteriorates, and there you could have a EMP. You could have just random things that set it off and do it. So I don't think there's any good way, but I also think this is why a lot of crypto will not ever become mainstream, is because of this exact fact.
Yeah, like people don't want to deal with that shit. They just want something reliable, something that they don't even have to think twice about, like setting up their security or taking all these extra hurdles just to set up their security. Like, do you remember when the Solana founder jokingly, well, I don't know how much of a joke it was, but the guy who founded Solana was saying how he basically has a second set of Apple ecosystem devices just to handle his crypto, and another one, like he has another MacBook, another iPhone, possibly an iPad, you name it, just for his personal use. But like aside from that, he has like one strictly for his crypto, I don't know, activities. So I don't think that is sustainable.
I understand that. It's just like, you see all of these, like the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, like every time he has his phone, it's got, and I just put my phone, the camera, you got to be careful on the camera because the camera can read QR codes and then download stuff to the device if the device is there. Like there's a lot of just like OPSEC when you're a high net worth and a very powerful person. So the more notoriety that you get on the internet, the more you are a victim of hacks, no matter what. Like no matter what, you are going to be a victim of a hack at some point, no matter how good your security is and everything. There's now there was that trend over the weekend or over the week about the person was able to essentially take two camera phones that were not connected to the internet, anything, and send data between them with just flashing QR codes really quickly. Did you see that?
No, that's actually kind of crazy. I was like I understood everything you said, but I was like, how is anyone able to do that offline? Like maybe if you're using like what is it, Jack Dorsey's messaging message?
You don't need Wi-Fi to send files. No Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth, no network. QR codes flashing on one phone and camera phone. Essentially, they just used a piece of software to like send the data one bit at a time with the QR codes flashing.
Dude, that's actually crazy. That guy got fucking rickrolled. But like classic internet use case. But like,
yes, it's amazing. It's like 100% offline. They're able to send a bunch of data across. But it's becoming scarier and scarier for your phone, and then also like what is secure, what is not, what is your property. That U.S. citizen that came into the United States, he was using that graphene phone OS, and he typed in an SOS code, and it wiped the whole device while in the what was it called, when he was detained essentially at the border. So. Nothing's safe. Like even when I travel internationally, my passwords are inside of vaults on my phone, and I don't carry a bunch of vaults across the borders just because you never know what's happening. A lot of those are banking stuff, and you don't have to give those up. You just get detained or kicked back to your country of origin.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess the more OPSEC you have, the better you'll be safe, and even then, like anything can happen. But it totally makes sense. Like once you're a high target user, like imagine if Satoshi Nakamoto, I believe, Satoshi was identified. Like that guy would be the number one target of every fucking hacker.
Yeah, it's just like Trump. It's just like Netanyahu. They are some of the largest targets. Whatever you think about them, positive or negative, they are the biggest targets in the world. But again, the big part here is don't just like blindly trust any service, anything. Like, do they have audits? Like, even MintLocke, it's like the stuff that we've discussed is, does it have an audit? How do we get audits? How do we afford audits? Audits are very expensive. And if somebody can afford it, it's probably a platform you should trust. Galaxy Research, have said, and essentially back to this thing is, there's a high
This
confidence about, about 11 million, 111 million dollars worth of Bitcoin were stolen, which is about 1,700 Bitcoin. It was 1,719 to be exact, stolen across multiple ways. There's probably more just out there on research that's out now. Drained a bunch of this, so there's a bunch of stuff out there, and there was no user error required. ColdCard was considered a lead. The bug lasted for 5 years. The update of the firmware doesn't fix existing seeds out there, so there's a lot of problems, and I think it's just a fact of what is the internet these days. It's just a lot of security holes that AI is essentially finding over and over and over again, and nobody can fix them fast enough. And I'm sure every piece of software out there has an astonishing amount of security holes that nobody realizes.
Dude, yeah, it's actually crazy. We'll link the thread on Twitter. I'm calling Twitter and X a little bit more interchangeably, so I'll leave that thread on the description. Dude, it actually makes sense. Like, X is becoming the everything platform. Not yet. I'm a premium, not a premium plus subscriber, so I think that's why.
Oh, so you're a peasant.
I am a peasant.
I mean, I love X Money here. I'll share my screen. I'm gonna.
Why don't we review it real quick? No worries. Not much, and it's like 10,000. Not bad.
But I think it's pretty cool. Like, it's just in here.
Cool.
You've got your earnings and everything. Like, just all of that, and then you can see your deposit. Like, you're there. I just deposited a little bit of money again.
You sent Jason 69 cents.
Yeah,
I love that.
That was funny. And then just, I've used it a bit, but 3% back on stuff, and then you get your X card.
How is the card? Is it like cheap plastic?
No, it like the X card, like, whew. I think it weighs more than, wow. I just butchered the heck out of that.
No worries.
It weighs almost as much as, the platinum card. Here it is.
Dude. Damn. Like
it
the
weighs
Robinhood...
I know it weighs 1 gram less than the MX Platinum card.
Okay. Yeah, the Robinhood debit is just fucking cheap plastic.
Yeah,
but I love the gold card.
Is nice. So essentially what I'm trying to get over to is use and I have multiple X accounts, so use my Robinhood Gold for the base stuff. Just like, everyday spending out there, and then anything that I need debit cards access to, which is a surprising amount of things out there in the world. Mm-hmm. The 3% back on it is really useful, because any bill pay service out there, they charge you extra if you're using a credit card, and if you use a debit card with 3% back, you're only getting charged 1% on that debit card. So I've swapping a bunch of stuff over now. And, I run my own business, so I can just auto pay myself into there. But you can auto reload. Like, I got cash the other day. I'll load it in there for free from like CVS. It's a really great service. I think you should move to it. And it makes paying for Premium Plus totally worth it. $400 a year or whatever it costs. Mm-hmm. Plus you get Grok, like unlimited, whatever the heck Grok is now these days. And that's accessed in your Tesla, and like they keep consolidating more and more. Like if they offer phone service through that and you get a discount because you're on Premium Plus, like it makes it worth it so much. And I've kind of always been against them to some extent. So they've brought me over.
Yeah. Shit, I mean, that was the most shill I've heard you ever give X or Twitter. So, I mean, I believe it. My only question for you, now that you've experienced X money and X, like, as a whole, the way it's evolving, Do you think crypto, and maybe this is for anyone building in the space or anyone, well, yeah, anyone building in crypto, I would say, what do you think crypto needs in order to be as sticky as X money is turning out to be and like as good as it is?
You need a service like that where it's just easy to use. Like nobody wants to send you Bitcoin, nobody wants to send you this stuff. Like until a service just says like, hey, Solana is the same as US dollars and you can send it vice versa and it just auto converts with the intermediary banks. That's easy. Like if you send somebody
Kind of like plot.
yeah, a little bit like Plaid. I would say it's kind of like if you go to a foreign country and just swipe your debit card, most debit cards that are premium or even credit cards just they have no foreign exchange fees. They just convert the currency right then and there. Maybe there's like a small spread on that, but as soon as that starts happening, I think that's the path. Like for example, Cash App with Bitcoin on the Lightning Network, everyone's just using Bitcoin on there because it's so easy to convert back and forth. There's no fees, super small spread, I believe. Actually, I don't even think they have a spread on Cash App. But
Wow.
as soon as that becomes
It's kind
the
of a big deal.
outcome, that is going to be the way people do it. Right now, there's too much. You got to think of it as a whole other currency. You got to do currency exchange rates. Most people do not know currency exchange rates. They don't know, for example, I know a Filipino peso is about $1 to 60 Filipino pesos. I know the Colombian peso is about one to, I think, I think it's one to like
Colombian.
14,000 or something, and then
Okay.
I know that $1 equals about 50 pesos in Mexico, right? Yeah, right. One
It's
USD
about
to
16, 17 Mexican pesos. I actually looked this
is
up
it?
the other day.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
about 17.
Hmm.
I'm thinking of a different currency. So many pesos that's there, but you got to think about that all the
Yup.
time. And most people do not think about it there. So if you think one soul
Or like Google it.
equals, $1 equals about 180, to one soul. So it's like what? How many souls to $1? That stuff is hard to think about for most people.
No, dude, like that makes sense. I think crypto is a very hard tool to use, even till this day, where it's evolved so much. It's a prosumer tool, and also the yield is not that good anymore. Like 6% APY, I was like, holy shit, 6% is a lot of APY. What like Capital One is 3.5, and other banks run similar. If you're not like adding a lot of money on their bank, like if you put like 5, 10,000 or even more, they'll give you like a nicer interest, which is still not 6%. Like that's yeah, crypto. If crypto wants to win, like people who want to build on the space, like a neobank or something, like you need to give really good interest and then have like a really good debit card to go with it. And if it's like metallic as well, that would be really
Yeah.
nice. Like people are gonna
And X
ape
Money's
that shit.
still a neobank, so I'm not a fully trusting them like 100%. I still bank with USAA and I still deal with that, but for a lot of stuff, like I'm, outside of paying like my mortgage and my car insurance and all that stuff, I'm moving a lot of money to X.
Well, that's good. I'm excited to try it out. Like I'm actually gonna reconsider my life choices at this point and go into Premium Plus. I'm
Yeah,
gonna move
like
up the
my stack is my USAA bank accounts like where all the money lands. It goes out to everywhere else. Robinhood gets my credit card, and it's where I'm investing fully now. X gets a lot of stuff, so Bill Pays in there now, and then my American Express Gold card is what I use for like restaurants and everything else. So those are like the three. There's three cards: is the Gold Amex, the X debit card, and then the Gold Robinhood card. So just
well,
wherever I'm going to get the best percentage with the least amount of fees is what I'm going to do.
I love that. Well, I'm going to become a Premium Plus higher class citizen of X, so I'll let you know how that goes. If hopefully I get my X money soon. I think the next thing we should talk about while we're on the subject of security wallets and like all that stuff, the BIP 1100, well, numbers, the BIP 110 soft fork. So when I was exploring all this stuff, I couldn't find too much reliable sources about what the hell is happening. So we're gonna go to the place we trust, which is X. This is from God, this name is so funny. Bitcoin Hopium. Bitcoin's BIP 110 soft fork officially fails. It mined just 2 blocks with a meager 2.53% miner support. The minority chain split at block, this one, whatever that block that is, and stalled behind the main chain instantly. It inherited a whooping 127.48 trillion in mining power. Fuck, I mean, that seems like a lot, but like the mining power today in Bitcoin is like astronomical. It's like in the pet something. Mining, what is it? Mining hash rate. Which, in my opinion, nowhere near as much as it's taking from AI data centers. Exahashes.
Do you mean
so, yeah,
almonds?
wait, what?
Almonds take more electricity and water than data centers. Have you seen that?
No, what?
Yeah, dude, almonds are fucking terrible for the environment. I hate when people say data centers are bad. Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen.
So I've changed my opinion on data centers a lot recently because of Beto's content on anywhere really. You look up Beto Altimariano, he has been shedding some really much needed light on data centers. It's not about the data centers themselves that are bad, it's about how they're run, which we can explore that if you'd like. It'll be, but yeah, I mean that's fucking new to me. Like almonds.
If I could spell almonds, but it's like you're a dumbass.
Yeah.
But here you go. No, like almonds use far more water. Can you?
Fuck. Why is? Okay, I've like thoughts and concerns because I have a background in AI. Like before ChatGPT was cool, like I was doing AI research. A simple comparison: Californian almonds, they're 1.5 or 1.8 billion gallons. All U.S. data centers direct cooling uses 17 to 73 billion gallons. What the fuck? That is insane. And yet we consume almond like crazy. Like I like almonds, like the salted, with like some flavor in it, like some like salt and other like seasoning in the almonds. Like I love that shit, but man.
I don't think data centers are great everywhere. Like when they put them next to homes and shit, like I think that's bad zoning, but that's just on the city government's terrible zoning practices. Like look at Houston. It's like zoning fucking hell. There's no zoning out there. But like
dude, for sure.
It takes small percentages of like electricity and stuff. Like manufacturing takes huge more out there. Like there's a lot of stuff out there like that takes a lot more usage of electricity than data centers. So I think the data center hate is there, but like if you look at it, and I think this is a really interesting dichotomy of a human, is everyone's like, I hate ChatGPT. What's the number one rated app on the App Store and with the most downloads? ChatGPT. Like people from what they say to what they do is very different. And I think there's a cultural push right now to say AI is the devil and all of that just because they don't understand it and they're worried about their jobs being taken, just like data centers are scaring people. So just aside on your comment of that.
No, I love that because I think I've had some thoughts. I don't think AI is inherently bad. I think it's bad the way we are practicing it and like all the PR that's happening behind AI. Like fucking Dario, the founder of Anthropic, that guy is just scaring everybody with his comments. Now, like Fable 5, there was so much PR about like, dude, this shit's gonna fucking, like Mythos, like that shit's gonna hack everything. You name it, it's gonna be Terminator 2.0, whatever. Like there was a lot of FUD like that, and that guy is probably the only person right now. And then maybe Sam Altman for a while, they were like fudding over like, oh, AI is gonna take jobs. Like Elon also, like work is gonna be optional. You don't need to work. Do you think people are gonna abandon money? Like, do you think these rich people are gonna abandon their wealth because it's gonna become optional? No, like it's still gonna be around for a while long. Like, I mean, maybe they'll control the means of production, which is gonna give them the ultimate power. But I mean, the point is data centers. are taking a lot. Well, I don't want to go into a different rabbit hole, but to keep it concise with BIP 110, like a lot of miners, which uses less electricity than like data centers, which uses less money than almond water production, I guess, or almond production in general. Um, I mean, BIP failed. 110 failed, and that's good. I think the takeaway from that is the consensus, the social consensus of Bitcoin. You just can't beat it. There's no other financial system that can do that. Like the US dollar, as powerful as it is, it's going to continue printing money. Bitcoin, you only have like, what, 21 million Bitcoins ever? And that's it. And on top of that, you can approve where the route or the direction of the technology is going to go. Now, what's BIP 110? Great question. I actually don't know what BIP 110's proposition was. So I'm going to share my screen about that. Now, I don't know if it's my ADHD, but I can tell you were, like, I was talking about a lot of subjects right now, and I could kind of see you being like, well, where's this headed? But, like,
Yeah, I don't know where you're heading.
So we went off tangent talking about data centers, but I mostly wanted to talk about, like, the BIP 110's consensus with, like, the miners, mining Bitcoin and, like, having direct control of where it's headed, like the technology, because they can approve it by migrating from one protocol to another with Bitcoin. So BIP 110 says reduced data temporary soft fork was proposed temporary soft fork that aimed to limit how much arbitrary non-financial data could be stored in Bitcoin transactions. So that's kind of interesting because the layman terms that I can think of is basically when you're looking at a mining block on Bitcoin, you can see all the transaction details like the recipient, the sender, who got the money, who sent it, whatever, the timestamp when it was sent. I guess they wanted to add more data, like I don't know what kind of data, like maybe a message, maybe some sort of customized memo, you name it, but. At least that's my understanding from that. But it breaks it down here what it tried to do. Ordinal inscriptions like sending out images, text, or NFTs on Bitcoin. BRC20 tokens, runes. I'm not sure what runes are. BRC20 tokens is like they're like the fuck, I forgot what it's called, but like Ethereum has its own ERC20 tokens. That's what it is. So it's kind of like pseudo Bitcoin coins, which is kind of weird. Large OP return data payloads, certain taproot constructions used mainly for data storage. So yeah, it seems like they were just trying to add more into the Bitcoin network, which in hindsight, I don't know how it would have worked. Like if I look at it from a high level, because Bitcoin is old as shit. Like it's old, it's ancient compared to modern standards. So it's already slow. I don't know how well would have been able to handle adding more data into it. It would have probably overloaded the network. That's my theory. So I would probably look more into this. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of like the takeaway. Like it was very interesting how this happened. Do you have any thoughts?
Nope, I don't understand this. So,
No
and I
worries.
think it means nothing for Bitcoin, and then like
It means
overall.
nothing. Yeah,
So like
for sure, for sure.
I don't really have an opinion other than a bunch of fucking nerds are fighting about some protocols.
Yeah, you could see the oozing nerdness coming out of me for a moment there. Um, in hindsight, I feel like Bitcoin is headed the right direction given this because I don't give a shit about storing NFTs or Bitcoin-based tokens or Bitcoin-based NFTs. Like I don't give a shit about that. I just care about Bitcoin. Um, so one more thing, I guess, in light of all of this, like we've talked about a bunch of shit today, but why don't we, as the last piece of the last subject covered today, why don't we talk about the failed projects on crypto? Over 100 projects have shut down this year. Did you know that, Leon? Most of them were either shut down, gone dark, or filed for bankruptcy.
It makes sense. Like I get it.
So let me share again. Okay. So this is from CoinDesk, and it's kind of talking about the same thing. We'll add a link to the description below if you want to read it all. I'll just kind of give you a high level overview of it. So basically, 100 projects shut down in 2026. Some of those projects were like Kelp DAO, BitMEX, Bitmart, Movement Labs, Storage Labs. I have another list composed that didn't include these, so it's kind of a big deal. So a couple of things. So the exits span every layer of the industry, including wallets, DeFi, lending protocols, NFT marketplaces, and layer one blockchains, which is kind of a big deal. Polkadot, it looks like it's shutting down. Did you know that? Or I guess not Polkadot itself, but like Moonbeam from Polkadot. I'm not sure what the fuck Moonbeam is. So that kind of explains it.
like I think like a large, like the Polkadot one's large part is just like that whole chain has been dying, and then alt prices or altcoin prices are down like anywhere from like 50 to 70%, and then money is expensive right now, so VC money and rescue funding has just dried up, and then most of these projects never drove any real revenue. Like they were just token hype and speculative farming, so it doesn't matter. And then a big part of that too is the ongoing hacks and exploits. Like it's like $1 billion has been stolen this year, and that's like a hard part of it. And I think the survivors that are staying out, they're the projects that are growing out there, like Aave, Hyperliquid, EtherFi. They're the ones that are driving a lot of revenue.
Yeah, like Hyperliquid is more than fine. They mentioned it briefly in here, which you can look at if you want to read it more. But what's cool is this is a post from Twitter. This is just a quote, which if you want to link it, you'll find it there. For every crypto project that you hear about shutting down, creative destruction for the next cycle, perhaps. That's kind of a good way to put it up. So you guys can read the rest. I'm not going to go through it. But the last thing I want to share that's relevant to this is here's a high level overview. This is according to March. It was created in March and it was updated like this week. And this is from Root Data. So these are all that pretty much died. Either died, they went bankrupt, or just turned off the lights without much explanation. A lot of this, I can see some patterns, like SocialFi and NFT platform. Like SocialFi fucking died a long time ago. NFT platforms, they're really just, there is some activity, but not to the level that we once saw in 2021. Zero fee blockchain, I think that's a layer one or something. And then decentralized NFT marketplace, Web3 gaming project, centralized exchange. Like some of these people are doing the same thing other people are. I guess it's all just execution at the end of the day. The only big name here that I can recognize, I mean, 99% of these people, I would bet my left kidney nobody has heard of them. BitMEX, oh, there is BitMEX, so that's one of them that I recognize. Tally, I do recognize. A DAO operations platform. DAO never took off in general. Milky Way, I did hear about it, but I mean, it wasn't as big. And yeah, I think that's everything.
I think it's good. I think it's a good outcome for this stuff to consolidate and to bring in.
Yes.
Like it is like the .com boom. Like we need some consolidation. I think VC money flooded into crypto, and it was not moving fast enough, and that's the reason why a lot of the stuff is closing down. It's too early for their cycles, and I think we're still 10 years from like mass adoption of crypto.
Yep.
In regular financial markets. So more and more it's going to be a lot of consolidation, a lot of closing. I think you'll see a lot more things get purchased over the next like 10 years, and then you'll see a lot of stuff die. The only part about this is like a lot of these things will just turn into zombies and be floating around, and that's the hard part of the crypto space.
So in that subject, there is a section that talks about the zombie problem, which this will be the last thing I will cover to this subject. So not every dead project, the zombie problem is not every dead protocol disappears cleanly When teams dissolve and companies file for bankruptcy, the smart contracts they deployed keep running and the code never actually dies. In July, a $6 million exploit at Lazy Summer Protocol was traced directly back to Stream Finance, a protocol that collapsed in November 2025. 8 months after Stream Finance went dark, unresolved code from the dead protocol became the attack vector for a live one. So, yeah, I mean, shit, if you're using any tool and they go dark, I would just pivot from using that tool because people are not addressing the code there. They're not keeping it up to date. And now that AI is kind of like just making it easy for some of these exploits to happen, like you can't be safe. So just do your due diligence. It would be my takeaway from this. Know what you're using in your stack.
That's the theme for crypto is just do your research, do your due diligence, and you won't always be right, but I think you'll mitigate a lot of risk if you do your research.
100%. Man, this was fun. I know it was a bit of a longer episode, but you can always look at the footnotes for any subject you want to cover, you want to explore in this episode. So let us know what you think if you've made it this far. Like and subscribe. It costs you nothing. It helps us produce more of this content if you like it. And if you dislike it and tell us why. We would love to hear your opinion. Yeah.